when a soul starts to wake up, the soul's going to start asking one of the basic questions. Who am I? Where did I come from? Who was I after I was, where did I come from before I was born here? Everybody returns back home and sees everything. It's just what it is. As souls, we create these spaces on the other side for our souls to delight in its pleasures. The heavens are within this construct. The angelic races, the seraphims, are all within this construct. In different planes of existence. Every ancient text biblically have known about the very construct that we live in. It's not new.
Guy here. Today I welcome Darius J Wright to the podcast. What I enjoyed especially about this podcast is that it was a very organic conversation and it went down many a rabbit hole, which I feel these podcast platforms are for, with some deep concepts. So if you enjoy my show, I have no doubt you're going to get a lot out of this episode today. The one thing I will say is that Darius shares his screen at some stage for about 10 minutes during the podcast. So if you are listening on audio, which is fine, of course, I would encourage you to come and jump on the YouTube video just for a few minutes and check out the concepts that he's explaining, because when we're starting to break down the nature of reality and who we really are as humans, and we got these incredible images to show, it's worth looking at. It certainly made me ponder on it for a few days. You can hear my voice as well. I've just got back from workshops in Sydney and Newcastle here in Australia. The momentum is continuing, which is phenomenal. We have opened up dates for our retreats in Australia and Bali in 2025 as well. Time is flying. It's going so quick, isn't it? But be sure to let me know what you think of this episode of myself and Darius, especially if you're on YouTube. Share it with a loved one or friend if you get a lot out of it. Find ways to help me continue to grow these podcasts and get these conversations out there, as I feel they're more important than ever during this time in history right now. And of course, let me know where you are in the world. I love connecting with you guys and reading all these comments as they come in. Anyway, much love from me. I hope I get to meet you in person one day soon and give you a hug. Enjoy this. It's fantastic. Beautiful. We are recording. Darius, welcome to the podcast. We thought we'd capture everything because we've been talking off air for a while and it keeps going. But first of all, welcome, mate. I appreciate you coming on the show.
Yeah, no problem, man.
Yeah. No, interestingly enough, when it comes to having guests on and conversations, these days I tend to do little research myself as well, because I love having that curiosity and creating an organic conversation from that space of innocence as well. And normally seeing what comes out of these conversations. And for me, it's really important to get to the heart of the matter, to get to how it can impact our life and how we can create change in our daily lives. Because I'm in front of many people myself, like I was explaining off air, and quite often we can get seduced by the mystical and all these different experiences, but ultimately we still want to make sure that we're taking strides into becoming a more loving, kind human being and presenting our best version to ourselves in the world. Yeah. That's what I found on my journey anyway.
Yeah. Well, what got you into it, and then what got you to sort of invite me even on, pretty much? I was curious to.
Yeah, look, I'm always open to finding interesting stories and relatable guests that come on the show, and people do let me know, have you checked this person out? Have you checked that person out? And I believe someone somewhere emailed me or something and tagged me in one of your videos. I've met Alex Ferrari once, had a conversation with him on Next Level Soul, who was very helpful to me with my YouTube channel, actually. He was very generous with his time. And through those conversations, different people come up, and I caught glimpses of you talking about out-of-body experiences. And I thought that would be somebody I'd like to speak to personally, because having had some of my own and having to grapple with the breakdown of certain fundamental beliefs that I wasn't even aware of until I started having different experiences, really shook my paradigm and started to shift things for me in a, when you pan out and look at the bigger picture, in a much more beautiful way. But at the time, it can be really unnerving, especially if there's no one in your life or paradigm that can relate to it. So
Hmm.
that's pretty
So
much
yeah,
it in a nutshell. In the
yeah.
story.
Well, you should have some fundamentals there then with the out of body stuff. Yeah.
Yes.
You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah. A
what what
few.
what what did
But
you? How far did you get so far with it? Did you
how
able
far
to
have I
look at?
got? So yeah, they went through actually a period of my life where they would just happen involuntary. They started to happen. I'd already had been leaning into a lot of meditation and a lot of experience. I was in my late 30s. And then I had, I don't like to talk about it too much, but I had a Kundalini movement and an awakening and really started to get energy moving. So what I was finding, I was laying in my bed and
Were
it
you
might be
practicing
two,
semen retention as well?
no, not with the sexual energy. No, but,
Yep.
um, but what was happening was then my body would just start to vibrate. I would wake up and it would actually start to vibrate at such a speed. And the next thing you know, I'd come out of my body and I'd be in a void. So that was the
Okay.
first thing. And I would freak out and I would go back in. I was like, whoa, what is that? I was very consciously aware. And then I started listening to Journeys Out of Body. There was another book. Oh my gosh, William Beaumont, is that his name? William something. He's
No
written a
idea.
book.
Yeah. Yeah. I
Anyway,
don't know any of these
fascinating
people.
book. Yeah. And then from that, things started presenting itself. And I actually look back upon this time in my life where I feel that the universe was actually presenting things to me to start to dissolve fear, to transmute that fear into love. Because I have a great desire to, I guess, want to support others on their journey into their own self realization. And I feel these things started to show up almost as an initiation, whether it be my higher self, my whole self, whatever, however you want to frame it and call it, started to present these things. And for me to surrender into these aspects that were starting to happen and allow to be with it as opposed to run away with it and come back into my body. Does that make sense? Does that relate to anything that you've experienced?
Well, I mean, you're the highest version of yourself right now, right here, right now, in forgetfulness. So, I mean, the only thing you'd be accessing at that point is memories, information that
Mm.
accumulated to your soul where it is right now, fully and completely. So, there's a veil which puts you into amnesia when you come inside of here. That's due to the water when you come inside this construct. That's why water
Mm-hmm.
holds all memory and stuff. So you're just remembering, pretty much remembering aspects of things that you've done.
Interesting. And why do you feel that we people start having these experiences and start remembering at certain points within our journey? Do you feel that's pre-planned before we get here? Do you feel, or is it just spontaneously starting to happen? What have you
Some
conclusions
of
have
it
you come
is,
to?
yeah. Some of it's pre-planned. So you would come in here with a certain plan. Now, not all of it is. So you could tell if things aren't pre-planned, or if you are off course. If you go through a traumatic life experience, or it's like you get whipped into another direction, feels like your life's falling apart. That's typically because you're way off
Mm-hmm.
course. But it's a 50-50. Some things are planned, some things aren't. And that's due to a lot of things, due to this construct the way it is. Not this, yeah.
Yeah.
When a soul starts to wake up, the soul's going to
Mm-hmm.
start asking one of the basic questions. Who am I? Where did I come from? Who was I after I was, where did I come from before I was born here? And so then that starts to create a catalyst effect of then looking at things here. Well, why are we doing certain things here that don't necessarily make sense? It doesn't feel right. Then you start tuning into your heart again, the base frequency of the fabric of creation of all things. Then when you step into that, then you're able to see the contrast very clearly, because the more that you get closer to the truth of the other side of who and what you really are, the bigger the bigger the shadow becomes. And you're able to see it very, very easily.
Hmm.
You see? So, and that's sort of how that, now it could happen many different ways depending on many different factors of people's life. But the awakening process, well, It's going to be very dependent on the individual. The out of body is the most direct way to do it, because there's no, I could tell you all of these things and you could hear all these things from other people, whoever you talk to. But if someone isn't giving you the tools and the practical steps of accomplishing it yourself in a direct path to get there, then what are you doing? You know?
Of course. Yeah. I mean, there's no greater learning than through experiential. That's for sure, because it becomes a knowing, not just a belief of what's possible. And for anyone listening to this, I would imagine the majority of listeners today, I'm just assuming from what I witness anyway in front of that come to our events and workshops and things, wouldn't have had an out of body experience. And I guess the question I'd have for you is, why would we want to experience that? Why would we want to lean into that?
So the out-of-body state is, you could say, the direct path of accessing the other side. You access the multidimensionality of everything. You access the full spectrum. Let's just say the light spectrum. So you access everything: thoughts, time, pass away loved ones, because things never die. You access the construct for what it really is. You see all things again, as if you were from the other side. You access your own records and things. So why would somebody want to do that? Well, it's an individual that truly desires to access things for themselves, truth for themselves, not hearing it secondhand from somebody. But then out of body is just it's not just a download. You are physically there. It's more physical than the physical body. Like you're walking around, you're interacting with it, touching it, etc. Thoughts are physical too.
Okay.
You see? Yeah.
Yeah. So you're saying essentially is that the way our lifestyle choices, the way we live our life, the reality itself is affecting our body, right? Like you say, is probably not running as harmonious as it potentially could be.
No. The bodies are massively distorted here. Very much. I mean, just the simple fact that the body ages is a massive distortion. Did you know that you weren't considered a man until you hit 100? So to show you the amount of, you could say, damage that has been done to the body, we're not even living to the full age that we are supposed to be living physically. The cells are constantly.
What would the full age be?
Yeah? Are you talking about hundreds of years old, 500, 700 years old? Biblically, you have ages even farther than that too. So, yeah.
Yeah, no, I've heard Greg Braden speak a lot about that and its potential as well. Interesting. So ultimately, then what you're saying is by leaving the body, we bypass all that and we're just literally going back to source, back to where everything is, without the body being in the way or the filter.
Yes. Yeah. So when you could say the body is the prison for the soul. So the body has limitations. It has limits on what it can do. Now it's not supposed to be that way, but there's limits. Yeah. So when you leave the body, you are breaking past the veil to access information, the other side, essentially. Yeah.
Yeah. With your experience, is it something that anyone can activate and do if they choose to do so? Or do you think it comes naturally easier for some people than others?
It comes naturally for some people. Yeah. Some people it's more natural for other people than others. And I would say this is due to upbringing and just the soul itself. So the soul coming into this construct, who it was, the experiences and stuff that it's accumulated all throughout its eternity comes in. But yeah, it is easier for others, but everybody could do it as well. Even if it's harder or even if it's hard or difficult, every soul could do it. It's not it's not limited to a demographic, or you need to be some monk that trains for decades to achieve this. All that's the distortion. That's the lie. Like people would want to convince you, or let's just say all individuals of control, to control you, to keep you in the self-imposed prison, okay, or keep you here. They would want you to believe that this is very difficult. And I've had people do this that has never even done it before. They go through certain principles, certain steps, they pop out.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's important. I can hear my listeners asking some of these certain questions around it as well. And just on your journey as well, why now? Why did you decide to come out publicly to start helping others and talking about this openly?
Okay.
Was it a big decision for you?
The reason why I'm doing this, the only reason, is because of what I was shown on the other side through the countless out-of-body experiences that I've had. The great work. My Uncle Bob passed years ago. So out of my body, coming out with control, accessing them, seeing what they consider on the other side, the great work, which is waking people up to the other side. And it was told to me, when they wake up to that, they wake up to everything. And that's exactly what we talked about in the beginning. The initial stages of waking up. You question the very foundation of who and what you really are. Because once you figure that out, everything, it's a domino effect from there, of you wake up to everything, especially when you're leaving the body too, and you're seeing it. Because you're not necessarily, when you see it, then you're seeing it. And it's from that point is also when I agreed to do from the other side, to spread the message to as many people as I can. That's the only reason, man. That's it.
Yeah, no, I believe you. Absolutely. Yeah. When do you think, or do you feel do you think there's no accident? It's happening now. You got these messages, like, are we in a unique time in history? There's a lot of talk in different podcasts, different people presenting themselves, that there's a lot of change happening on the planet right now, and more people are waking up to the fact.
Well, yeah, it's not a planet. Yes, but the realm, is in a state of, yes, mass awakening. And now this is evident in self-evident in everything. You could see everything's tearing apart at the seams, and people are actually starting to see things again. People are waking up to see things for what they are. Now, there's a lot of deception there too. People have cognitive dissonance, and so this is the thing that you're going to find that a lot of people are going to battle with, like planet. It's not a planet; it's a realm construct. But yeah.
Can you you've opened that loop in my head, so we might as well go there. Can you explain what you mean by that exactly?
So do you know what NASA stands for?
I don't,
like
actually.
In the Greek?
No.
Okay. It's, in short, it's deception, to deceive. Okay. I don't know a way other than going here without just going there. So you believe in space, yes?
Yes, I don't ponder on it too much, but yes.
Okay. What if I told you that space isn't what they tell you space is?
I'd be open to hearing all aspects after having some of my own experiences myself. That's why I'm very curious.
Okay. This place is exactly what they've stated biblically, the way that this place is. That, the realm, the plane that we're on, it's the four corners of the earthly realm, the toroidal field through the center, the firmament above. Mm-hmm. That's pretty much what it is, without getting this the YouTube flagged. Okay. Anyways, man.
Yeah. No, it's when you started, because we're just riffing off a conversation here, and I'm just speaking to what's coming to mind as you share them.
All good.
When you started having these experiences, then are you also being shown the construct of reality, the makeup of it? Like, how far have these experiences, because I haven't looked into your own work much, how far have these experiences taken you? To what depths of knowledge that are supporting us as we are on our awakening journey? Because I'm personally, in my life, I'm very conscious now of what I read and what information I take in. And I always stay open. And even if I'm skeptical, I will remain skeptical but open. I hear Tom Campbell talk about that a lot, actually. And use the very steps I take on my journey of the exploration to come to my own conclusions as I move
Yeah.
forward as an individual, but also support the collective. You know what I mean? So
Yeah,
I'm
no,
fascinated. Yeah, I'm fascinated from your out of body experiences and also what has been presented to you, and share as little or as much as you like in those.
there is a foundation of truth. I know you brought up Tom Campbell as having open mind. Be always. That's another part of the trap, man. You when you get in a state where you can never touch the truth and grab it, and truth is forever changing.
Mm-hmm.
It's all. There's no truth. What is a man? What is a woman? You see, so there's a truth to things. And this is the biggest deception of them all, where they convince you that there's no truth to anything. There's a foundation, and that foundation is solid on the other side and here as well. It's just been people are temporarily blind. How do you tell a blind person what the color blue looks like? Not that they're blind forever; they will see again. But that's sort of where we are right now.
Yeah,
you see,
that makes sense.
So. Yeah,
I get exactly what you're saying. Yeah,
okay, cool,
absolutely.
Cool. Yep.
Yeah.
Now,
so I guess from my perspective, to support that is that there's absolute truth, and as I've had experiences, it's really broken down, I guess, all paradigms of beliefs to go, wow, I've just experienced that, and that's undeniable in my experience, my world.
Yeah.
But there's truths beyond that I've not experienced yet, if that makes sense. So I'm on my journey. I'm allowing myself to navigate towards more absolute truth. Well, what does that look like?
Okay. Yeah. Well, I mean, every soul will see it again. Will access that. It's sort of you could say, inevitable event that you will access all things again. It's every single soul does. No soul is ever lost or trapped. Everybody returns back home and sees everything. It's just what it is. Mm-hmm. But you've asked me before, what are the things that I've accessed? So I guess the best way to say it is the first parts of me coming out of my body, I was just accessing dimensional spaces. I was accessing here. We have 12 realms. I was accessing realm 1 here, the earthly realm. This is where you could see things taking place in real time. You come out of your body, you see what's taking place exactly in the environment that you're at. You see people walking around, physically walking around, doing things. I've even taken it as far as having people write things on a whiteboard. I would be in another room, pop out of my body, see what they wrote on the whiteboard, like 4 times in a row, 4 days or 5 days straight.
Oh wow.
Been very open to even doing experiments, scientific experiments and stuff like that. But it's, I've found by also just doing the experiments with people, getting people to come out of the body with testimonials that they share and stuff as well. I mean, that's as, I could have like 100 testimonials, or like, it's just at what point does it end that it's like truth enough for people. You're never going to reach it.
Yeah.
You see what I mean? Unless somebody does it for themselves.
How much evidence do you need? It's just
exactly.
You're going to keep doing it. Yeah.
But I've done things like that. Seeing things taking place in real time, and also battling a lot of dimensional space stuff. Now, dimensional space is typically what you would consider a dream. It's your thought forms, your field. Your body and your soul hold an electromagnetic field all around you. So it's pretty big too, strong. Mm-hmm. So when you are thinking something, this goes into your field. A lot of people think that this just it just goes away into nothing. Like it's always present. What you think is constantly there. So a lot of fearful things that I was personally battling with, something harming the soul, something entrapping me in all these things. So I was creating these things, these dimensional spaces, like my own hell. It took me a long time to get rid of that fear.
Oh yeah.
You see?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can relate to that.
Yeah. Wasn't until
Yeah.
I realized that nothing could touch or entrap me, the soul, unless I believe it to be so, is when you could say I broke past the first layer of the self-imposed prison that I put myself in the out-of-body state. That's when I started to see that there's more to just this realm. I started to access more layers of it. The heavens, the heavenly realms, the angelic realms. I started to come in contact with beings, seeing what's actually beyond the poles, seeing what this construct, this realm actually looks like. There's massive land masses that are, you could say, hidden from people, hidden from the public. Yeah. That's why they have the Antarctic Treaty. It's not to save the penguins. It's to hide what else is beyond, all of the races, etc. Been showing the outside of the construct, the very thing that we are within. Being able to see that from, you could say, God's point of view, or like constructs stacked on God's shelves. And I share this all the time too. I'll just share it here, just to show you, man.
Please. Yeah.
Okay, here we go. You can see that, yeah?
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So when I was talking about for people that have already watched me, this is going to be like a massive repeat, but when I'm talking about the construct, could you see my mouse? Is that showing up on the recording?
No.
Oh, okay. No. Then you're just going to have to follow my voice.
That's okay. Go for it.
When I talk about the construct being shown from the outside, it's very similar to what you see here. So you see the two, like the people there. So that's like when I talk about this construct that we're in, that's sort of what it's like from God's point of view. And there's many of them on the other side when you are completely out of this place. It's like you could see many different puddles on the floor, stuff like that. There are there's so many, because they're based on, constructs are created through individual souls, what they think, what they desire to experience. So they create these, you could say, creations. And this is why you can go biblically. First is the thought, the spoken word. So as souls, we create these spaces on the other side for our souls to delight in its pleasures. And that's sort of what we're seeing here. And this is where, you go into the construct when you look at the left image there. Yeah. Where you go into, you could say, looking into the construct itself. And it has a total, there's many different layers to this, different planes of existence. This is where you get the heavens are within this construct. The angelic races, the seraphims, are all within this construct, in different planes of existence. Construct.
Wow.
Yeah, it's from the other side.
That's an incredible image. Anyone that's listening to our audio, like, come onto YouTube and check that out. That's fascinating.
Yeah. So this is like, these are things that I've seen out of body. So you asked me in the beginning, why would somebody want to do this? Well, you're seeing things for what they are again. You could say standing for the second time, reborn again. Remember what I was talking about, the many different constructs or the many different creations on like God's shelves? Well, this is sort of what it looked like when I was seeing this from as well. This is like another example. It's like there's so many different constructs, like a construct all I forget that you can't see my mouse, so I'm trying to point here, but anyways.
That's okay.
Yeah. There's a multitude of constructs all through, you could say, creation. It's all created by individual souls. It's pretty much it.
Wow.
Let me just let me just change this real quick.
Image?
Yeah. I got a few here, just because you said that you weren't you didn't see a lot of the work or anything. This is where you go into, there are all these different layers, the the constellations, the different realms, the four corners of the earth. When I told you that space isn't real, it's not the way they tell you space is at all. Not even close. It's no such. It's not a vacuum or any of that, or what they. But that will be a whole other podcast or something like that, or show to even explain that, to even give the context behind it for people to completely understand it. But when you are outside and you're viewing this, it is on the earthly realm. This construct is fixed and it's immovable. On the other side, there's a firmament above. All things are perfectly created. These bodies are perfectly created and mirrored off of the construct design. This is why the physical body has, you could say, self-imposed limitations. These limitations are based off of how the construct was created. For instance, these physical bodies that we're using right now aren't going to step out of the construct, but your soul is. But your soul is more physical than the physical body that you're using right now anyways. So it makes no difference. But yeah, this is the four corners that I talk about. This is what you would consider space on the other side anyways, but it's not what they say. I'll just skip that. And this is why basically, this is another image, because you're going into more of my work and stuff. But every ancient text biblically have known about the very construct that we live in. It's not new. Some of that took me a long time re-seeing this over and over and over again in my out-of-body state, going through my own mental things and belief systems, having to crack that to see it for what it really is. And seeing that it's actually perfectly created. The only thing new is
wow.
You see? You go into the indigenous people around the world, the lost civilization of Atlantis and Egypt, how the civilization disappeared and they were so advanced. But they've known this. All these people have known this. Mm-hmm. Hebrews, Indians, Vikings, like even the very, Masonic lodges and stuff like that, Masons and things like that. They all know this part of secret knowledge. This is something totally different. Like, I could, this is just a random slide. I didn't even prepare for this. This is just stuff that I put up. But, this is where you could go into the massive distortions too, what people think is being awake. And this is going to trigger a lot of people, but it is what it is. There's been so much distortions from the lies of where we are here, this place that we live in, to the very lie of what awake is. A lot of people think awake is, the distorted layers of what people call light workers. But on the other side, when you're on the other side and you're seeing and interacting with these beings, they are much more like what you see the images on the right, like, the angelic people. They are, you could say, they hold the armor of God in a sense, because they realize that they are the gods. Yeah, so they hold that. So there's been a massive also front as well to diminish what truly being awake is, and to put people in a constant passive state instead of getting them fully standing in their power and understanding things fully and completely. Yeah. Now, there's a lot of people are going to look at this as like as more of like a judgment thing. It's not necessarily that I'm judging. It's pointing out truth for what it is. A lot of people want to eat from the apple of life. And I'm just going to use this as an analogy. A lot of people desire to eat from the tree of life, the apple of life, or whatever. But they've been sold and you could say put underneath a hypnotic spell and been given an onion. And they're eating the onion believing that it's the apple when it's not. And this is where the distortion comes in. So, it's more of I hold more of compassion for people that fall into the new age propaganda and stuff, because it's complete distortion from what awake really is and from what things are like on the other side as well. This is where you go into, the creations, the heaven coming to earth, the realms. A lot of people don't understand what the 12 realms and the different layers and planes of existence within this construct, that this is where you get the heavens above coming, the sky opening. These are just different planes of a existence within this construct. in all of these, you could say the heavens, the angelic, the seraphins, the titans, the giant, all of these races are all on different planes of existence within this construct, and they were all once here. This is why you find all the history here. You find all the giants, all the history, everything is here, because all was here once upon a time. You know, I think this will go a bit nuts, with things, based off. I'll skip this stuff because this is, depending on how far you want to go. I don't think this is relevant. This is going into more of like the true origin of the sun, the trees, and all that stuff. But yeah, I'll skip that for now.
Yeah. Okay. Fascinating. Fascinating.
Stop sharing screen. Yeah.
Thanks for sharing those.
Yeah, go.
Please.
Go. Well, I mean,
I was going to say, no,
tree.
It starts to bring context into...
Yeah, okay.
Go ahead. Riverside's got a delay. Yeah. It starts to bring... Being able to use imagery like that, it really starts to bring in some context into what you're saying, and being able to have visualizations from it. One thing that I found on my experiences, and
let me actually share this though. Let me actually share this one more time, because it will give context, because I was talking about the giants and stuff like that, and just to give you just that last bit of stuff for people that are watching. I won't go into the sun stuff because I don't want to take things too far for YouTube or the audience, or getting this taken off or censored or something. But when you talk about the lost history, or the history of this place was much larger, and it still is larger than what is advertised. What we think it is. And this is where you get the giant trees, the mountains, the giants. Like it's, you're, like what people consider mountains and things, or some of them, not all of them, but they resemble as if a tree was chopped down. So you go into more of all of these things, where a lot of the things that you see is part of the old, you could say the old world, in a sense, where everything was once here. This is why, like I said before, all of the histories here, all of the heaven on earth, the giants, the angels were all here. All of this history is true. Even there's still out of your body, you could come out and see it's down in Antarctica, seeing a host of other things that were there. But some of the things that are there too is you could say some of the original bodies in stasis, in a sense, like some of those old beings that are there. Yeah. Yeah. Anyway,
when you were going out of your body, is somebody showing you these sites? Is that what was happening? Are you able to, or are you just kind of exploring, and they come into you, or they being purposely brought to your attention and awareness when that was happening? Because it's quite remarkable what you're showing.
Yeah, well, I'm still coming out of my body. That's one of the things. I know we didn't do a proper introduction or anything like that, but so I have taught myself how to do this controlled. I will. Now, there's a process that I do when I desire to come out of my body. You have to shut the body down. That's pretty much what you have to do. Mm-hmm. And so you have to lower the electromagnetic field of the physical body for the soul to exit. Easy, very effectively. So I have trained myself how to do that. Usually depending on many factors, like right now, I'm drinking coffee. So that it's going to be more difficult for me to even do that, like if I wanted to tonight. So there's certain things there's a list of things that I set myself up, physically prepare myself to come out of my body. So it's not these aren't things in the past. These are past things, but also still to the present. That's also what I'm
current. Yeah.
Yeah, it's current. And that's also teaching people as well how to do it. Because when you come out, in this way, you're going to sit up as if you're sitting up physically. And then when you look back on the bed, you'll see yourself sleeping as if you're dead. It's no different from a near death. You're not dying, but it's a controlled process in that way. You come out, you see. Yeah. But I just wanted to say that. Yeah.
Please. Yeah. No, thank you. I appreciate it. It's funny. Yeah, please continue.
Yeah. And then you said who was showing me these things. Mm-hmm. So for many, or I'll just say a very long time, when I was in such a state of fear all the time, I wasn't accessing anything. I was just seeing, what's in the room at that point. But it wasn't until I really stepped out of that, you could say what people consider gods, or not gods. I don't know why I said that. What people consider spirit guides is what I meant to say. So what people consider spirit guides is what was coming to me. My uncle passed away, relative came to me as well. And these are the beings that you could say that we all know, like, let's just use the word guides because that's what people are familiar with, that terminology. So these beings, these guides, you have known them for pretty much ever on the other side. That's just in short. So when you're coming out and you're doing this and you're seeing these beings, at first it's a shock, but you have the familiarity of recognizing who they are again. You'll hear this with countless near-death experiences too. People they're like, oh, I know you, I remember you. And it's not until you're there long enough that you start to remember their name and the reason why you know each other. And so I remember from my uncle being taken to the Halls of Amente. It's part of like the records within this place, Halls of Amente. It shows you the whole history of the Egypt, Atlantis, the technology and things that they used, organic technology, and the records of that time period, and just being shown, taken, figuring things out, leaving my body multiple times to revisit certain places to make sure that I have a good understanding of it. You can say creating a map. It took me a while to create this map. Like, it's like a pinpointing things, bam, bam. Yeah. And then, months and months and months, years actually, then shutting down my body again, visiting it, writing it down. Like I have like almost like a book of things that I've been like mapping out, seeing where things fit, where things don't fit, and then also because I don't read, I don't do research either. So I'm not a reader of that like that. I tend to see words backwards as well. So it's not my thing. It's not what I do. I have to listen to it, audibly.
Yeah.
But, sometimes I'll come out of experience. I'll be like, well, where does this match? And then I'll do a little go. I'm like, wow, I didn't even know that, but I've seen that out of body. I had no idea that's what it's actually called. I didn't even know what the Halls of Amente were called the first time I've been there. And then to go there out of body, being taken there to show exactly how to access it. Because it's just in another, frequency. It's another dimensional space. You could say that.
Mm-hmm.
And, the exact location, the hall, how to access that space. It's just, it's pretty.
Wow, that's remarkable, mate. Yeah, remarkable.
Yeah. This is where you even go to some of the true technology. Like a lot of people are still trying to figure out some of the true technology of, like you go into biblical things and the ancient civilization. They've had, I was being shown also as well, they have like these beds that's able to project a certain frequency. Many different things as well, but I'll just keep it short. But anyways, it's all through frequency, electromagnetic frequency. This is even where you get a lot of the Christians. Let's just go into that too. A lot of the Christians where they're getting baptized to be reborn again. That's a distortion. That's a distortion of what actually that was. What that was is that water holds memory. And this is you could see this scientifically. If you put a word underneath water, you freeze it, it'll actually start to show you and express that. express that word or create an image. And so the water holds a lot of memory. So when you're able to create a electromagnetic current through water and restructure the water, then you could program the water to also program the certain electromagnetic frequency of the body and the cells. So this was part of that as well. With they're putting them into a certain frequency of water to restructure the cells within the body. So that's what that really was, anyways.
Yeah. I so believe that. Absolutely. Mate, I feel like we've only scratched the surface today. I'm gonna have to cut the podcast in a moment because I've got to take my son. But
I get to hear him in the background.
It's it's that time. But mate, it's been great connecting with you today and having this conversation. And like I said, I feel like we just scratched the surface. But I appreciate you, and I appreciate you coming on and starting to share some of the insights that you've gained from your experiences. And I have no doubt the people listening from my regular listeners will have their minds clearly open and curious for everything you shared today. So I just want to say thanks, man.
Yeah, well, hope it helps you and people that are listening. So I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Wait, if people want to find out more about your work, mate, and you have a website, you have things, we can link it in the show notes anyway. Is there anything you'd like us to share?
Yeah, everything that I do is just like the mission. It's just on my website. But I'm not really, I don't even like necessarily promoting that. Just look up my name, Darius J Wright, and find the information that you need to at that point.
Yeah. Absolutely. Thank you, good sir.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thanks, man.